welcome.
Thank you.
The veteran. The veteran.
Thank you.
We shall be discussing. The family has life, has everything. At Africa TV. This is where we're going to discuss a lot about you, about the struggle.
Yes.
Welcome to Najaátu.
Thank you so much.
Hello there and welcome to The Veteran. When we talk about the veteran, we're talking about people of note. We're talking about people who have seen it all. Is it the struggle politically, in their lives, in their families? And there are times we say certain professions will always flow in the blood of families. This is the story of our guest. And our guest is a female, a woman of note. Of course, someone who has also paid her own price when it comes to marking her foot in the sands of time. Her foot are always, the footprints are left on stones. You can't erase. History can always continue to mention such people. My name is Ben Adam Shaman. Our guest, like I said, is female, born in Kano. Even though she'll talk about all of that, but I want to tell you that she is a special guest. Special because what you hear from her. All I need to do is to welcome Haja Najaátu Bala Muhammed. You're welcome to Third Eye Africa TV.
Thank you so much.
The veteran.
Thank you.
The veteran.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
My comrade.
Thank you very much. Of course, when you hear the comrade or my comrade, it's coming from a socialist background. Her dad was Alhaji. Comrade, let me start it this way. Ali Abdullah. And of course, he belonged to the group, Kano, that time. Therefore, you can now see the background. She was born, our guest was born with the blood of politics, the struggle. Socialism being the thing. Everybody is equal. How was it like being a child?
Actually, like you rightly pointed out, my father, Ali Abdullah, I was born in 1956. I just clocked 70 on the 20th of August. And I was born in Kano City, right beside the Emir's Palace. It's called Maraba at Durumiya. So we are just a few feet away from the Emir's Palace. And I grew up, I can say, I was born into the struggle. My father was an element of the NEPO. He was one of
the Northern Element Progressive Union.
That's right. And he was a very, very close associate of Aminu Kano. And he was one of the major sponsors of that struggle. He was a very, very successful businessman. And a very, very hard line, I can say to a large extent, in the struggle against oppression and the emancipation of the Talakawa, against colonial rule. And, then it was the emirs were serving as the arms of the colonial administration. So I think the first thing that I can remember about that time was the day that we were banished from the city. The late Emir's auntie, Gwagwa Medaki, came to our house. I was just maybe about 4 or 5 years, but I can still remember the day that we were sent out, because my father gave a lecture, and in the lecture they said he insulted the emir. An insult to the emir then was that the emir had collected too much tax, or that the emir at that time had a right to take your wife, and turn her into a concubine. So my father made a lecture against that. So it was interpreted, it was a crime then to say anything like that. It was like a taboo. In fact, people from Nepal were seen as non-Muslims. So when my father did that lecture, my mother now was sent packing. Baba was not at home, but our things were thrown out on the streets.
And living very close to the Emir
yes,
Palace.
Yes, and then Baba was banished from the city. That is how we came to live first as at Brigade. He was given a house by an Igbo person. I can't remember. I don't know, but my mother told me that it was an Igbo woman who owned a house at Brigade, and then she gave it to us, and we stayed there. I can still remember the house. Before my father found his feet, he built his own house, and then we moved to Nasarawa, where we all grew up.
Then I can see that your primary school days, you were able to mingle so much. You went to a Christian school.
Yes. Then there was the only private school in Kano then was St. Louis Private School in Bampai. There were 3 St. Louis. There was St. Louis Secondary School. There was St. Louis at Airport Road. But there was also a St. Louis private school attached to the secondary school in Bampai, which was meant for expatriates only. So only whites, or at least Lebanese, were allowed into the school.
And you found yourself there?
No, Baba had to write petitions. He wrote so many petitions that why should there be a school in Kano that is exclusively for whites? So I was the first black girl in a white school. And I know that he had to pay through his nose for me to even attend the school. But we, along with my siblings later, so I was actually brought up by nuns in terms of education. My first 5 years, from the nursery to class 4, before my father was locked up. And I think I was later told that they were charged with treason. Then, NEPU were fighting the establishment. So I was then taken, I think in 1966, I was taken to Shekara Girls' School because my father had been sent to prison. Incidentally, I grew up seeing him in and out of prison. So seeing Baba in prison at that time was really nothing, but that one was different because they were charged with treason. I didn't know what they did, along with people like Tankwaya say, I can't remember the rest of them, but because I was at some point I was living with Tankwaya say or Shehu Satatima, or I would be taken to Aminu Kano's house, because Baba was in prison. So they had to be taking me to school.
And I can see Baba Tankwaya is still alive.
I think he's amongst his contemporaries. I think he's the only one alive now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now let's look at your life in secondary school too. How mixed was it?
In secondary school, I got into trouble quite a few times because I tried to abolish seniority. So by the time I was in Form 3, I went to the head girl because they make announcements when we are at lunch or dinner. So I made an announcement. I wrote a piece of paper and took it to the house girl. She didn't know that I wasn't really sent, that it was my idea. I said it should be announced that we are from 4 down should meet at room 5X.
The revolution has been long.
Yes. So they all gathered. They didn't know why they were there. And I stood up. I was in Form 3 then. I said, we are changing the head girl. And we actually did. It was a lot of trouble, but alhamdulillah. And it stopped.
So, and from the secondary school, you moved to ABU.
Yeah.
And I can see that it was still struggle all the way.
Yeah.
Right from secondary school, you could effect change.
Yeah.
You needed change, no more seniority, and it was effective.
Yes.
Then you moved to ABU.
Mm.
Suddenly you felt you must be president of the student union's government.
Yeah.
So what actually happened? And I can see some photographs.
Yeah.
Can we have a peek?
Yeah, these are some of my campaigns. You can see here. This is one of my campaigns. I can give it to you later. So in at this particular time, you know what actually happened? There was a person that I was that sought my assistance to campaign for him. I can't remember his name, but he was referred to as Prof. I think he was
a fellow student.
Yes, he was either from Bayelsa or Rivers, somewhere along the riverine areas. And he was
Nigeria was united.
Yes.
Bayelsa.
Yeah.
Bearing in mind that even it was an Igbo man in Kano who gave your dad an accommodation.
Yeah, that's true.
Nigeria was good.
Yeah. And then when I was campaigning for him, he said, and then he discovered that I was the wife of Bala Muhammed that was assassinated. So he came to me one day. I said, Najaátu, so you are the wife of Dr. Bala Muhammed? I said, yes. The one that was killed in Kano? I said, yes. He said, so you are Rimi, you are PRP? I said, yes. He said, please, I don't want you in my team again. I said, why, Prof? He said, because no, I will be victimized by the government. You know, I can be shot when I become president, or I can be rusticated, expelled. I said, Prof, how can someone that wants to be the president of Ahmadu Bello University and will not be prepared to die for the students or to be expelled? I said, no, I don't want to die for anything. I said, then you are not worthy of becoming the president of the Students' Union. I will be the president of the students.
Wow.
So that was how I got into it. There were 9 of us. Then 8 of them were male, and I was the only lady in it. And it was so hot and severe that the 8 of them decided to step down for one person just so that they can beat me. And that campaign was has gone into the history of Ahmadu Bello University because even exams had to be postponed. It was so hot because the government was interested, the school administration was interested. Nobody really wanted me, as far as the establishment was concerned, to be the president because they knew the implication. But we beat them hands down. It was a landslide victory. Look, let me tell you, when the elections held, I will tell you 1 or 2 incidences that I still remember and appreciate. I was campaigning door to door, and then I went to Suleiman Hall on the 1st floor. I went to a room. I can't remember the room, but I can still visualize it. And there are these sects, this Shia. I went to them. They were having some discussions, and I said, I want to be president. So I'm introducing myself. They said, no, a woman cannot be our president. I said, why? They said, no, it's against our religion. I said, but we are not practicing the religion here in ABU. They insisted that they didn't want me in the room.
Meanwhile, ABU is about academics.
Yes. But you know what? When I insisted in campaigning, one of them picked me up and threw me over the stairs.
Wow.
Yes. So when he threw me down, I realized that I have not broken anything. I went back up. I went back up to their room. I said, I have to finish since I'm okay. That is to tell you that God is telling you that I am fit to be president. And they still refuse to listen to me. But you know what? I can't remember his name, but he's from Funtua. On election day, he sent for me. I went to the visitors hall and said, Naja. I said, yes. He says, I lost my mother today. But you know what? I'm not going to Funtua to bury her until I cast my vote for you.
Oh, what a reconciliation.
Yes. So, I mean, these were the kinds of support. So by the time the elections were held, the administration said that votes will not be counted that day because there was too much tension. And we had our INEC then. So you know what we did? All the ballot boxes were gathered together and we surrounded them in our hundreds. And if you want to go to pray, somebody will sit there and you go to pray or eat and come back. We did that for 3 days, manning our votes.
Wow.
So after 3 days, they had no choice but to announce that I won the election. And it was a landslide victory. It's an election that Ahmadu Bello University had never seen.
So what was the relationship between the Students' Union and the administration of the university?
Well, at that time, it was really very, very bad. Professor Aungo Abdullahi was our vice chancellor. Anytime he sees me now, he says, my troublesome student. At one point, they tried to impeach me. We went into parliament, and those that tried to impeach me were the clerk, who was a candidate of the establishment. The speaker. The speaker, we are very good friends now. The speaker, and then even within our camp, it was like there was the extreme socialists, so to say, like my SecGen. So I think, and because the person that I defeated was actually from the socialist part, that is Black, E-Black they called him. And my SecGen was part of that camp. And there's this establishment camp led by the speaker. So if you look at it, I was like a minority as far as the parliament is concerned. So I called the parliamentary meeting after gingering the Congress, because I made posters in red and white, pasted it all around the university.
Red can be
yes, red
blood.
and white. Yes, defending the indefensible. So I called, they wanted me to, I was the only one that had the constitutional right to call for the parliamentary meeting. So because I know that they wanted to impeach me and I was a minority, but I know that I had also the backing of the Congress. That is the generality of the students of the campus. So I called for a Congress instead of just a parliamentary meeting. If I am at the parliament, I know that I would lose. But with the Congress, if the Congress are to vote, I know that I will have the majority. So I called for the Congress. The university banned it. I said, no, they will not accept that the meeting with the Congress. But I had already charged the university. I had already charged everyone. So they said, okay, it has to be just parliament. I said, okay, let's go to parliament, because I had the student to encircle the parliament. So that you as a parliamentarian representing so and so, they are there watching you. You understand? So we went into parliament at 8 p.m. By 8 a.m., it took us 12 hours. We had successfully impeached those that wanted to impeach me.
The hunter became the hunted.
The hunter became the hunted. But then by 9 a.m., Aungo Abdullahi now decided that I should be expelled. You know what the students did?
No.
They went and encircled his office. The women, all the women, from the Congress went to his, like they say, we are taking you dead or alive if you don't reinstate our president. And then the men, what they did? They encircled his house. They say, we are waiting to hear from the women we have sent to your husband. If he does not reinstate our president, we'll burn you up. It was terrible, because the school was really charged. And we, at that time, the students in this country had a say in governance. You understand? Especially students from Ahmadu Bello University, University of Ife, University of Lagos. Oh, when we cough, the whole country catches cold.
Sure.
You understand? That was then. But students now have sold out their rights, their honor.
And
they
you
have
see them driving in a government.
Not even that. They are now campaigning for their oppressors. It's really, really unfortunate. We were not like that, And let me tell you, there was an incident we had, the American invasion of Grenada, when I was president. And we wanted to go to Kaduna to burn the effigy of the then American president. I think it was, I can't even remember whom it was, against the American invasion of Grenada. You see, we will go out and demonstrate over the release of Nelson Mandela, American invasion of Grenada, this kind of thing. So we wanted to go for that demonstration in Kaduna. And nobody, the commissioner of police then, Gwaruzo, made a pronouncement that no bus should carry us. We walked from Zaria to Kaduna to demonstrate. We walked because we had to do what we had to do.
Commitment.
Yes. So that was it. Alhamdulillah, I went through, and then I have to mention that one of those that influenced my life was Dr. Bala Usuma. He took special interest in me, and he molded me. He was my mentor. He was my lecturer.
Also, when you read history.
Yes. That was why I read history, actually, because he was the head of department.
Now, you see, you're mentioning Bala Osman actually brings to the front burner issue of PRP. The government in Kano then, Abubakar Rimi, and your husband was the secretary.
No, he was the political advisor.
The political advisor to the governor. And Abubakar Rimi felt that Kano Emirate was so large that needed to be some more emirates needed to be created. For example, I think you had Auya, if I am getting Auyo, which is now in Jigawa.
Yes.
Then you also had Dutse, now in Jigawa.
Yes.
That would have been two different emirates. Then you come to Kaduna, Gaya, and all that. But they said the minutes was with your husband. The then emir didn't like it. And suddenly they said there were attacks. Your family was attacked. Can you tell us the veracity, the truth, or otherwise of this?
That was just used as a pretext. But you see, because Bala was not the local government chairman. That was the duty of the local government chairman, local commissioner for local governments. Sorry.
And chieftaincy of, yeah.
Yes. Bala was the political advisor. He had no business with this. But the reason why they killed him was because he was the chairman of an investigation panel in which they found out how much of the land belonging to peasants that were siphoned and confiscated by the emirate. And that committee was supposed to give a report to the governor through which their properties would be returned to them. That was why they killed him. He had nothing to do Because one of the reasons they gave that was that he gave the emir and Akwere. He never gave the emir. It wasn't his duty. He was a political advisor. But he chaired the committee that did the investigation, that dug out the corruption in the emirate. That was why, So there were riots, and the riots were organized from one of the what do you call them? From one of the emirate title holders. They started the rioting from his house, and they went to the state assembly. It was burnt down, and they went to state assembly members. Quite a few had their houses burnt down. The crux of it was, in any case, why should the emirate be interested in it if they don't have a hand in it? So for me, my experience was
I understand.
I went to Zaria that day. In July the results were out, and you have to go and figure out whether you had passed your papers or not. So on return, I stopped by my mother's place, that was in Getty Zaria Road. And she said, baby, she calls me baby because I'm her first child, and she doesn't, Fulani people, they don't call the name of their first children. She says, baby, have you been home? I said, no, mama. So I hear that there have been riots and that your house have been burnt. I said, no, Bala had gone to Lagos. He left for Lagos. So I'm sure they wouldn't have found him. She said, why don't you go and find out? I said, and then that time, communication was very difficult because it's that phone. So I went to the house and I saw his car with the door ajar. The ceiling had caved in. There were his books all over. Some of the mattresses were half burnt, but everything was burnt. I tried to go into the rooms, but there were still a lot of fire on the ground. So I could only peep into a few places. The next day, then I reported to the governor then, Abubakar Rimi, may his soul rest in peace. And then
well, we'll just go on a very short break so that you take small water, and we come back. The program is The Veteran, and of course we're talking with our guests. Very committed to Nigeria, Hajja Najaátu Bala Muhammed. Yes, so we'll continue. So it means when it actually happened,
yeah,
you were not in the house.
No, I wasn't. So when I couldn't find the body then, a day after I was called to come and identify a body that they had found. And I identified him, and he was chopped into pieces. His limbs were gone, and there were so many
machete wounds.
Yeah. I identified it, and it hardened me. That day I took up the mantle. The anger and the pain was so much so that I became numb. When I looked at that body, I said, okay, they killed him because he was trying to enlighten the populace. because that was the main thing he was doing. So from that day onwards, I said, if this is all they can do, then so be it. I would want to go the same way. And that is how I really found myself where I am today.
Yes. And I can see that at the political arena, you're also not lagging behind. I can also see some photographs there.
Yeah.
I can see you and former President Buhari. What
Yeah.
event was that?
This was a campaign that we had, since 2002 when Buhari came into...
Yes. The cameraman, let's zoom that. Let's see it.
Yeah. Since 2002, when Buhari came into APP,
Yeah.
I'm the first person he invited, whose assistance he solicited to help him in his presidential campaign. When I introduced myself as Najaátu Muhammed, he screamed,
Wow.
seeing me for the first time. And he said, please, I'm inviting you to Kaduna. So he asked Ya Udarazo to please take my number and we should meet on a Wednesday. It was on a Monday, I can remember that, but I can't remember the date. So I was to see him in Kaduna on Wednesday. I sat with him in Kaduna that Wednesday and asked him whether truly he came into the APP to contest president. And he said yes. I said, okay, I can't support you. He said, why? I said, because you are a fascist. He said, fascist? Yes. Like Hitler? I said, yes. When I was president of Ahmadu Bello University, I gave a lecture on Buhari and fascism. So I told him about the lecture. And he said, no, he's not a fascist, that the Babangidas, gave a wrong picture of him. Apparently what he told me wasn't true, but I believed him then. And he told me how he was betrayed, this and that he meant well for the common man, kaza, kaza. So I decided, okay, no problem. From Kaduna, I didn't get back to Abuja until a month after, because from Kaduna, I left for Kebbi, I did Sokoto, I did Zamfara, I did Katsina, trying to enlighten the people and making a political structure for him. So that is how we started with General Buhari. The only time that I did not lead his campaign was when he went into CPC. I didn't go to CPC with him because each time we tried to make an alliance, the first alliance that we did was the G4. The G4 was Buhari, Ojikalu, and Tinubu, and Atiku. You understand? And that they were supposed to form a bloc. But each time they tried to make that alliance, he was always the first to go out of it. He would always bolt out of it. So by the time we got to 2011, he did that again. I said, no, I'm not your slave. You cannot be taking me in and out or taking me up and down like a yo-yo. So I don't want to be a part of you. Again, I left him. I was not part of the CPC, but I stayed in with the ACN and headed the campaign organization for Ribadu then. I supported Ribadu.
So how is your relationship with Ribadu today?
Terrible now.
Why?
Because, he puts his personal interest over and above the national interest. I always look at the larger picture of things. I'm human, but I've been brought up from my father, my husband, my lecturer. These three men molded my life, made me what I am today by the grace of God. And they have always taught me to be objective, to look at the larger picture, and that is the situation of our country.
Yes, you just said to look at the larger picture. I can also see another picture there.
Which one?
Yes, this
Vision
one. 98.
Yeah, Vision 98.
Yes, what is it all about?
In Kano Central District, I'm the first female senator, the first woman to win a senatorial election in northern Nigeria. That is the Kano Central District.
Okay.
You know, and that one, what happened was that there were agitations for women to come out and contest elections, you know, from ward to presidency. And then they have women organizations all over, you know, encouraging women to come out and contest elections. But apparently all these things are just a hoax, so to say. But I bought into it. I said, okay, let me try to stand as a senator. And let me cut a long story short. Most of the women organizations that had been collecting money from America, from the UK, from the EU to sponsor women into politics, all fought against me, except Najaátu, the
Nigerian Union of Women Journalists.
women. They were the only ones under Halima, then Umar, that supported me. They were all rallying women for the male candidates who were paying them. And a day before elections, that was on a Friday, all the mosques in Kano preached against me, except that of Bayero University. The Imam, he's late now, may his soul rest in peace.
Mm-hmm.
And then the BBC called me. Apparently it was a booby trap. I never had answered the clerics when they were insulting me in their sermons. Over the time that I was campaigning, I never got to answer them, but the BBC now called me. Apparently even then it was a booby trap. So they called me to ask me that have I heard what the Jamaat al-Nasr al-Islam secretary traitor had said? I said, no, I don't listen to these chaps. They said, would you want to listen? I said, yes. That was on Friday. And the next day was elections. And he called me. They said, okay, let us rewind. So they rewound what he said. And what he is saying that anybody that votes a woman is an infidel. I got that one. They said, do you want to give a reply? I said, yes, I want to give a reply. So I said, Nigeria is a secular state. Nigeria, unfortunately for people like that, is not an Islamic state. I cannot argue yes or no on what he said concerning the Quran or the Hadith because I don't have that kind of knowledge. But I can argue on the basis of the Constitution of the Federal Republic. And they should know that the Constitution of the Federal Republic is supreme. And that anyone who is to be sworn in a public office will swear by the Quran. They will carry the Quran, hang it around their arms, and swear by that Quran to defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria without fear or favor. And Article 1 of that Constitution is saying that any law other than the law within the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is null and void. So by implication, they are swearing with the Quran to negate the Quran. I said, if any of these clerics, particularly this traitor of a chap, traitor is the name. I said, if he is to be sworn in, or anyone to be sworn in into a public office, this is the position of this. So what they should do, if they are sincere, is to make a jihad that will push away this constitution. But they should be, but I'm reminding them, it is treasonable. It's a death sentence. Just as a reminder. And then I said also, the penal code that is used in Nigeria to administer justice A lot of these laws were derived from the British. And the British derived it from India. Till date, India is worshipping Rama, Krishna, and the sun. But they accept it. I said, God. I said it in Hausa. I said, God, you are Malik al-Mulk. I said, you give power to whom you please. I said, Ya Allah, my God, if what I have said is the truth, let me be victorious tomorrow. But if these clerics are lying, Ya Allah, disgrace them tomorrow. And they were thoroughly disgraced because I had a landslide victory.
So what about the statements by Sheikh Jingle and also the outburst, do I call it, the outing of the Catholic bishops?
First and foremost, the Cardinal Anaika is somebody that has made me proud as a Nigerian. He has made me proud as a Nigerian. Jingir is saying what he is saying today is because he is supposed to be in jail because he has been instigating crisis against Nigerians. He is supposed to either be in jail or in the mental infirmary. But because you can get away with everything, any crime, for so long as you are supporting the government of the day, nothing is happening to. If a child, if a man can just make a TikTok and say that people are being killed, they can trace him, lock him up. Sometimes they disappear forever. But somebody that is making such callous utterances, creating crisis amongst our people. Nigeria is a secular state, and no one has any right to instigate crisis from amongst us. But nothing is being done to it. In fact, I saw them on a clip yesterday, and they were donating millions, hundreds of millions to him. I mean, for God's sake, what has become of our country? You see, the law, no one should be above the law. But in this dispensation, commit every crime you want to commit, for so long as you are in APC, like Oshimale once said. Oshimale once said that commit any crime you want to commit. You come to APC, you are forgiven. That is why people like Jingir are doing what they are doing today. But
now,
it's really unfortunate.
Yes. At the point you were close with Buhari, his government was there, you were given part of, you were a member of the police service commission. But it looks like the looter in you was there.
Yes.
Did you fight Buhari?
Yes, I did.
Why?
Because he disappointed us. We supported Buhari because we thought that, if you remember, people referred to him as Mai Gaskiya, even though at one point I told him that, please, sir, don't allow people to call you Mai Gaskiya, because Mai Gaskiya al-Haq, the truthful, is the name of our Lord God. He is the truth. So if you begin to wear his cloak, then you'll have problems with him. God is a jealous God. So Buhari turned out to be one of the most corrupt presidents that we had.
But some would say his lieutenants were corrupt and not him.
No, he was. How can you Jesus alayhi salam said, from their fruits you shall know them. So his lieutenants were his fruits. And what we got out of it, you show me your friends, I'll tell you whom you are. There is no excuse for Buhari. We gave him the treasury, the coffers of this country, in trust as the commander-in-chief, and it was looted clean. He is culpable. It's his fault.
Then when you had the...
So when I was in the Police Service Commission, by the way, I was only a part-time commissioner. without us even a salary. We were paid sitting allowances. But I did what I had to do to the best of my ability with a few of us that believed in the country. We found out that police had to pay to be posted. They had to pay. They have to bribe. I can't say pay. They had to bribe for postings. You have to appointments were bought and sold, and then to be trained, there was no training. To be enrolled, you had to bribe. So we tried, along with a few of my comrades in the Police Service Commission then, to put things right. And it was a big, big problem with us and the chairman. But we fought with the chairman, and we got a lot of the corrupt things that he was alleged to have indulged in, which I took to the EFCC. And when the EFCC refused to make the investigations, we fought them left, right, and center. And I wrote petitions to the president and insisted that if he doesn't do anything about it, then he's part of it. So the then chairman went to Buhari to say that, first of all, he asked his lawyer, and they gave me 7 days because I published all the corruption that I digged out of the Police Service Commission, and which I sent to the EFCC when I realized that the EFCC were trying to play games with me. And then he's asked his lawyer to write me a letter that I had to retract what I said within 70 days, otherwise they would take me to court. I said, no retreat, no surrender. I insisted. So before the 7 days lapsed, he went to General Buhari and reported that I'm tarnishing his image. Buhari said, look, even me, I'm trying just to stay in peace with Najaátu. The best thing for you is to either go and settle yourself with her or you resign. So he resigned. And we got another chairman, a very good one at that. I can't, he died.
Aris,
Aris.
Solomon Aris.
Oh, great man. Aris was a great person. Yeah.
But in all of this, Nigerians were always expecting that every year new policemen, 8,000 of them were supposed to be injected into the system. Was that a fallacy, or some people just created it?
Yeah, it is a fallacy, quite honestly. We never have had. And then the worst, no one will give you the nominal role. No one can tell you for sure how many policemen we have. So many ghost workers, so many ghost policemen. I mean, it's terrible. I don't think the government is serious about giving us security. You will hear of some IGs siphoning billions of naira to their personal use. I know quite a few of them that had done that. You will get to hear that some of them move into politics.
No, we are actually getting very close to the end of this interview, but very short one. At the point you were in the campaign trail of Tinubu,
yeah,
and you moved all over, said, "Oh, you wanted him to win."
No, I never wanted. I never wanted him.
Somewhere along the line, you withdrew your support.
No. Actually, look, I never really supported Tinubu from the primary elections.
And you didn't want to pretend about it?
No. I supported the vice president then.
Osibanjo.
Yeah, I still have a lot of love and respect for Osibanjo. For quite a few things that he did in the absence of Buhari. You know, when Osibanjo takes charge, even the naira, you know, is beeped off, the value of the naira. Security becomes beeped off, which is to say that, oh, it is doable. As soon as Buhari comes back from his leave or wherever, we go back to business as usual. So I never really supported him. But then they begged me to come into his campaign. I didn't want to go. To cut a long story short, he invited me to London, where he was. I went into London and I asked him, I said, look, if you want me to campaign for you, you have to tell me what I need to campaign with. I have to have something to tell my people. So what have you got for the North? The North is in turmoil. There's this insecurity, the economic crunch, infrastructural, total breakdown of the infrastructure in and around the North. And he looked at me in the face, point blank, without any shame, and said nothing. I said, sir, you don't have anything for the North? He said, no. I said, okay, what do you have for the country? He said, no, we have the APC manifesto. I said, manifesto is neither here nor there. I want to know, so if we have something for the country, then at least I can stay behind that one and maneuver.
Okay. Now,
but at the end of it, he told me that to bring an agenda for him. We had a network for national salvation. I tried to bring him the blueprint for the North, but till date, I was not allowed to see him.
Okay. Now, a very last one. Where do you stand? Assess President Tinubu in 30 seconds.
He's a wreck. That's all. He has wrecked this country. And if we continue on this, we will end up without a country. There is no doubt about that.
Now we have the G100. They said they want to provide an alternative. 30 seconds for that.
I pray they do.
Where do you stand now?
I stand with Atiku. I'm the Deputy National Chairman, ADC, Northwest.
So, Atiku says he will. Tinubu remove subsidy. Atiku says he's bringing back subsidy, and that has been an issue.
But by the grace of God Almighty.
You bring it back.
Bi-iznillah.
If he wins.
Yes.
So what are you doing to harmonize all presidential candidates who are in opposition?
Well, I am not part of the team. But I know that they are working around the clock.
Suppose it doesn't work.
We'll go it alone. We'll go it alone.
So you believe Atiku can...
Absolutely. You see, everything is left to Nigerians. If Nigerians accept the situation they are in, then it's their problem. But Nigerians know after Ocean, the great people of Ocean, after what the great people of Ocean had done, their resilience, their perseverance, their sacrifice, if they can do it under this heavy pressure, then Nigerians can do it. It's easier for Nigerians than the people of Ocean.
Well, it is here that we have to call it quits. The veteran, Hajia Najaátu Bala Muhammed, a lawmaker, a socialist, always the alluter from father to daughter. What about the family, the children?
None of them. They are so scared for my life that they don't want to.
You say, Mommy, please don't go.
Please, because
my children must be there.
They had seen me gone to detention. They had seen me poisoned. I was in hospital in Germany for 7 months. I had to go on a total reconstruction of my colon to the poison. That.
But they know the story of their daddy.
No. The children I have are not with Bala Muhammed.
Okay.
Bala Muhammed's children are my children from his first wife.
Okay. Yeah. No, it's still the same thing.
Yeah.
Still the same thing.
Yeah.
So this year that we have to end it all. My name is Ben Adam Shaman. And of course, our guest, the veteran, has been Hajia Najaátu Bala Muhammed. Proudly Nigerian.
Yes, proudly Nigerian.
Proudly with the
Absolutely.
green passport.
Yes, very much so.
And looking forward to a positive, great Nigeria.
Bismillah.
Thank you very much for
Thank
coming
you
to
so
South
much, my
Africa
comrade.
today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Bless you.